So Kathy Hochul and New York Democrats are fighting back in ways we really have never seen before, or at least haven't seen before in a long, long time. In response to Texas Republicans completely gerrymandering their state and literally trying to arrest Texas Democratic lawmakers, today Kathy Hochul held a press conference in New York with some of those Texas Democratic lawmakers who fled Texas in an effort to break quorum and prevent Texas Republicans from gerrymandering the state and literally eliminating 5 Democratic held districts. What Texas Republicans are doing is noteworthy given that it's a mid cycle redistricting effort. I mean, it's between 2020 and 2030, the next time states are supposed to redistrict. And while they're doing it now so that Republicans have an unfair advantage when it comes to the midterms, so that Republicans can win those 5 Democratic held seats. And well, today, during this press conference, Hochul was asked straight up, "Do you think the Independent Redistricting Commission should be disbanded?" And her answer, well, it was stunning. Not only did she say that the answer is yes, that would be amending the New York Constitution, but she also said that she is, quote, tired with fighting this fight with her hand tied behind her back. Check this out.
Curious, last decade we redid redistricting. Hard to say. Do you think, given this situation where we've had these court battles, everything, that in this 2027 amendment that you may put forward, that the Independent Redistricting Commission should be disbanded or changed in some way, so that you don't have to go through that again in 32?
Yes. I'm tired of fighting this fight with my hand tied behind my back. With all due respect to the good government groups, politics is a political process. And to think that we're going to do this with a purity test and make sure it's completely fair to everybody involved, the reason we are able to draw the lines because we're Democrats, because the majority of people in this state selected us, elected us to be leaders. And when we say that we cannot use that power to its fullest, then we're abdicating the responsibility that we all have. Republicans take over the legislature, they can have at it. But until then, we're in charge, and we're sick and tired of being pushed around when other states don't have the same aspirations that we always have had. And I hold those dear. But I cannot ignore that the playing field has changed dramatically. And shame on us if we ignore that fact and cling tight to the vestiges of the past. That era is over. Donald Trump eliminated that forever.
Now, Hochul, what she is advocating for here would be a complete remake of the New York State Constitution and a complete elimination of the Independent Redistricting Commission currently in place in New York. There's a similar one in California that Governor Gavin Newsom actually is proposing possibly getting rid of. And now she wants to get rid of this in New York. And doing that would completely change the way redistricting is done in New York and would allow New York Democrats to potentially gerrymander the state and make sure that Republicans lose a number of their districts. Now, quick disclaimer here, gerrymandering, whether done by Republicans or Democrats, it's illegal, it's unconstitutional, and it shouldn't be allowed. And most Americans agree it should not be allowed. In fact, both California Democrats and Republicans believe that what Texas is doing is bad, and yet it's still happening. And because Texas Republicans are doing it, now New York Democrats are saying, well, we're not going to fight with one hand tied behind our back. We're not just going to roll over and let Texas Republicans gerrymander their state without any pushback. We're going to give the American people what they want. Because as Hochul noted, this is a war. She said, quote, "This is a war. We are at war and the gloves are off." And she says, quote, "Bring it on."
And I thank them so much for making this journey. You are on the right side of history. And you're not alone. We are in solidarity with each and every one of you and your colleagues in another state hosted by my great friend, J.B. Pritzker, who welcome you as well. As I said, history will judge us on how we respond to this moment. But here in New York, we will not stand on the sidelines with the timid souls on the sidelines who don't care, will not invest their heart and soul into this battle. This is a war. We are at war. And that's why the gloves are off, and I say, bring it on.
That statement from Hochul is what many Democrats across the country have wanted to hear for a very long time. They want governors, they want leaders across the country willing to fight for what they believe in, to fight for their democracy. And that is what Hochul says she is doing. She says that democracy is the top priority right now for New Yorkers, top priority for her because it's, quote, under siege. Just like those who put on a uniform to fight in battles across the ages, for centuries we have stood up and fought. Blood has been shed. This is our moment in 2025 to stand up for all we hold dear.
Governor, why would it be unfair to say that New York Democrats are abandoning good government and good democracy in an effort to save democracy?
Well, that's an interesting question. But if that's what's called for, I will put saving democracy as my top priority at any cost because it is under siege. Just like those who put on a uniform to fight in battles across the ages. For centuries, we've stood up and fought. Blood has been shed. This is our moment in 2025 to stand up for all that we hold dear and not let it be destroyed by a bunch of renegades in a place called Texas, which I respect these people, but we've had our battles with them, the Attorney General, the Senator. We know who we stand with. We stand with the people of this country.
She said that. That is a real video clip from Hochul, from a New York governor, who is literally standing up and fighting back against gerrymandering efforts by using her power to do the same in New York. And when you think about it, when you look at it from a macro level, if you add up all the districts in New York and California and compare them to the districts in, say, Texas and Florida, there are a heck of a lot more in New York and California. And that is bad news for Republicans and ultimately shows that this effort by Texas Republicans is going to backfire. It's going to backfire. Because, say, tomorrow, Texas Republicans are successfully able to get quorum and gerrymander the state, which is not likely, given the fact that 30 or so Texas Democrats have literally fled the state and have no intention of coming back. But say they somehow get quorum and they gerrymander the state, okay? Then California Democrats can turn around this November, abolish the Independent Redistricting Commission, and do their own little mid-cycle redistricting effort and abolish up to 9 Republican-held seats. So that's a net loss of 4 for Republicans. And then New York can do something similar and really redraw the map to make it much harder for some of these moderate Republicans like Mike Lawler and Nick LaLota to keep their seats in Congress. But that's not stopping just in New York and California. Maryland Democrats have already come out and said that they're going to do the same thing. They're going to go out and they're going to gerrymander their state to the point where it's an 8-0, completely eliminating any and all Republican districts. And then you have a state like Illinois. And then you have other states. Every single state could do this, Republican and Democratic held states. But ultimately, if every state did this, Democrats would still prevail. And you know who would suffer the most? The voters. Because when you gerrymander a state, you limit voter choice. Voters have less of an incentive to vote, and democracy crumbles. Gerrymandering is unconstitutional because it deprives Black Americans from having Black majority districts, from having real representation in Congress. It deprives other everyday Americans, all Americans, of a choice in Congress. And it doesn't matter if it's Democrats doing it or if it's Republicans doing it. All gerrymandering is bad, and yet it's been allowed by the Supreme Court time and time again. And right now, this Supreme Court is about to decide whether or not Black majority districts, race majority districts, are even constitutional under the Voting Rights Act. They're going to make this decision next year that could completely gut Black majority districts in Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, across the country, could force Republicans to redraw their maps to eliminate Black majority districts across America, having reverberating effects on voter choice for decades to come. Now, we're going to see what happens then, but for now, New York Governor Kathy Hochul, well, she's fighting back. So spread the word, subscribe to support, and I'll see you soon. Hey folks, Aaron Parnas here. Thank you so much for watching The Parnas Perspective. Please consider subscribing to support our work as we grow this independent news media entity into something that rivals mainstream every single day. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.